high school football.
Well, it certainly, what I thought was rather amazing is that in the 5A category, that of course Clinton and Powell and a number of those teams play, that Bishop out of Carnes was the player of the year and that Nolan was the runner-up. And that's quite amazing that you've got two players that good in 5A and both from East Tennessee.
Yeah, right there in Knoxville. It's right down the road, right down Emory Road, Beaver Creek. Mm-hmm. And Bishop, he'll be back next season.
And I hope somehow Tennessee gets him, and I hope Nolan decides to change his mind.
He's liable to. He had a visit to UT last week.
Okay, well,
I think
good.
it was Saturday. I think he visited one day. He was visiting the Big Orange.
And I've got a number of these teams and coaches that they finally updated some of those. Region 3 5A Coach of the Year, Brad Taylor out of Carnes High School. And offensive assistant was Pace Melvin of Powell. Defensive assistant Xavier Mitchell of Clinton, which I thought was very nice.
And Coach Melvin, he was at Clinton for a little bit, I believe, under Kerr.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, very good. And the MVP, of course, in Region 3 5A, Deshaun Bishop, not only that, but he, of course, the state player of the year. So that's good stuff where he's concerned.
You have a list of the players that made the all-region?
Well, I've got some of them. I just did the highlights because otherwise I would have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, there's several players they select.
Right.
It seems like a lot of teams, back in the day, they didn't used to select that many, but anymore.
Offensive MVP in Region 3 5A was Jordan Potts of Powell. Defensive MVP was Walter Nolan of Powell. Sophomore of the year in Region 3 5A was Joshua Keith of Clinton, which I thought that was great accolades where he's concerned. Freshman of the year was Warren Nolan out of Powell. And it's good that they are talking about your sophomores of the year and freshmen of the year because they can really develop in the coming years for their respective teams and give a good forecast for their future.
That's Walter's little brother, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's good stuff there.
I've heard a lot of folks talk about him. Really impressed with him as a freshman. He may be even better than his big brother, Walter.
Boy, that would be nice. Mm-hmm. And also Clinton All-District Jeremiah, which I don't...
Blauvelt?
Yes, that's correct. Caleb Cook, Andy King, and Barrett Maddox, all from Clinton, and Devin Monroe, and the list goes on. Also, Maddox was named as a co-punter of the year, along with Lenore City's punter.
Yeah, we needed Maddox. Clinton needed Maddox punting against Oak Ridge.
Oh, yes.
He wasn't punting. After that game, he started punting the ball, but that kicking game really hurt Clinton this year against Oak Ridge, and that loss ended up knocking them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that makes it rough. You're 6-4, and unfortunately, that game and Campbell County were difficult ones. Campbell County was even, I think, somewhat of a nail biter, wasn't it? It was a pretty close game.
Yeah, it was. Low-scoring game.
And some of these I've already talked about a few weeks ago, but I know in our immediate vicinity, I guess, what is that, Division I Class 1A, well, I guess I'm going over that again. Okay, Region 2 2A, Rockwood, offensive MVP was Jaden Hannibal. Defensive MVP was Ryland Duncan out of Rockwood. Comeback Player of the Year was Connor Carpenter out of Wartburg, and Cades Rexter out of Oneida. And also Region 2 1A, the co-coach of the year was the Oakdale coach, J.R. Voiles, and Benson Napier of Cofield. They were co-coaches of the year. And the player of the year, Cole Hines of Coalfield. Offensive MVP was Emmett Hagelin of Midway. Defensive player of the year was Landon. Is that Lowe or Lowe? I never do know for sure.
Lowe.
Okay, Landon Lowe.
Cofield.
Yes.
Lau.
Okay, Landon Lowe. And also Cotton Henry of Coalfield as well. And also out of Division I, Class 1A, these, of course, are the players of the year. Caleb Ganaway out of Peabody. Division I, Class 2A, Ty Simpson out of Westview. And Division I, Class 3A was Cades Buckles out of Alcoa. And Alcoa keeps winning state championships right and left, which I don't know if it will ever stop where that's concerned.
Yeah,
they're quite impressive.
Yeah, I got that Tennessee Mr. Football Award winner. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Ganaway, he repeated as the Class 1A Player of the Year.
Now, is he a senior?
I believe so, yeah. He's a senior. And I've got the stats here. Had 1,283 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns.
Goodness gracious.
Quite the running back for Peabody, who was they were knocked out in the semifinals by McKenzie.
And then Division I, Class 4A, Baron Brown of Pearl Cone High School. And Division I, Class 5A, which we've talked about, Deshaun Bishop, but he had well over 3,000 yards for the year, which is quite an accomplishment. What, probably second all-time in the state or thereabouts. Pretty close. And then Division I, 6A, Destin Wade out of Summit.
Yeah, Wade's a quarterback. I believe he's going to Kentucky.
Okay.
They've got brothers there at play for Summit, and he's going to the University of Kentucky, Destin Wade. So.
Well, maybe we can somehow get him to head towards Tennessee instead.
And that 2A Player of the Year, Ty Simpson, he's going to the University of Alabama.
Well, now that shouldn't happen.
But he had quite the season as well. It's a 2A school. A lot of kids like to transfer. I think they need to play at a bigger school, but there you go. You got a Ty Simpson playing at a smaller school, and he's going to Alabama. So, I think wherever you play at, if you're good enough, I think the big schools will find you.
Well, I think that's really true, but like you say, if you're at a smaller school, sometimes they'll overlook you, but I think nowadays they're able to zero in on the player, the product, if you will, and they can find, who they need to.
And the Buckles kid from Alcoa, maybe he was the MVP of the bowl game, state championship the other day, and
right.
He was a backup quarterback. I believe he came in and ended up taking over as a starter, and won MVP and 2 straight championships as the quarterback.
I've been amazed for years how Alcoa and Maryville in particular in our immediate vicinity just keep on bringing out great products year in and year out. It really is mind-boggling.
A lot of folks are saying Alcoa, it's time for them to move up. What do you think?
I think that may be the case, but in some instances, it's according to who is doing what one year. I mean, like sometimes when somebody moves up from 4 to 5A, it may be better on them, and it might be better on them if they move up. I mean, you just can't never tell. It's according to how the flow of football powers go.
And I think they need to probably move up. Seems like be a challenge for them. I mean, more of a challenge. They won 8 in a row now.
Oh yeah,
8 in a row, and was all in 3A?
I think so.
I'm not sure on that. They might have been in 2A. Might have won a few, but they could move up to 4A and challenge Greenville. or Elizabeth.
That would be a pretty tall order.
Yeah. Be a good test for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if we want them in 5A or not.
Well, probably not yet.
And or maybe just go ahead and jump up there to 6A, jump in there with Maryville.
Well, that most of the time's the only ones that they lose to, so.
Let's go ahead and look at some of the state championship games played last Friday night and Saturday. In Class A with South Pittsburgh defeating McKenzie 24-21.
Good football game. South Pittsburgh getting the win, and they've been pretty tough all season long.
I think we split on that. You took McKenzie and I took South Pitt. But did you realize I found it hard to believe that was South Pittsburgh's first state championship since 2010.
Really? I've always thought that they were always in the hunt. I didn't realize it had been that long.
They were in the hunt, but they hadn't. I thought they had won one before then, but 2010, last state title for South Pittsburgh. And I was looking at some of the teams. You know, Greenback won it 1 year in Class A. I think Peabody and just some of the other schools, but South Pitt's always in the hunt, as you said.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was surprising.
Very surprising.
McKenzie, that was their first, I don't know if it was their first trip, but they were eliminated last year in the semifinals and by Peabody in 2A. And apparently both schools dropped down, so they defeated Peabody this year in the semifinals to get to the finals. They had a really good running back at McKenzie as well. Looking at 2A, Hampton went up against Westview, and I think we both picked Hampton. I didn't realize last week that Ty Simpson with Westview. I forgot that, so that the Alabama commitment, and they defeated Hampton 55-14.
Whoa!
Yeah, so Ty Simpson had a pretty good game in that. So that was a big win for Westview, a big margin of victory. And in 3A, Alcoa, as we talked about, 45-14 over East Nashville. I believe that was the first state championship game last Thursday. So they got it rolling. I don't think East Nashville, they came in 10-4.
Must have really upset a lot of folks and got into it and was I'm sure very much. In other words, we're going to lose by quite a bit.
Probably the closest game, or maybe the best game, I didn't see none of it, but Tullahoma defeated Elizabethton 21-14. Elizabethton was the two-time state champion, and that game went into double overtime.
Whoa, that's a good football game. I would have picked Elizabethton, which I think I did, because Elizabethton was two-time, as you say, state champion in a row, and that I bet was a good one to watch.
Yeah, we both picked Elizabethton and went into double overtime. The quarterback for Elizabethton, Bryson Rollins, threw an interception, I think, to end the game. They're in overtime, but he's an outstanding player, that Bryson Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
Been the quarterback the last 2 years and won 2 state titles. But Tullahoma, the winner in that one, and they ended up 15-0.
Oh, that's a fairy tale season, no doubt.
And their coach, John Olive, I was reading, he's been the coach there for 29 years at Tullahoma. And actually, his first year was in 1993. And the Clinton Dragons that year actually traveled to Tullahoma to play I think it was an opening round playoff game.
Okay.
And Tullahoma won that game. I think it was like 21-18. It was a real close game. Of course, Clinton was coming off their state runner-up finish in '92.
Right.
It was actually going down to that game and got stuck in traffic on the way down, and so we ended up just turning around, coming back, and watching the Oak Ridge Wildcats that night. They were home in the playoffs, but Tullahoma, John Olive, 29 years, and they won it all. It's their first state championship, and he decided to hang it up.
Well, that's something else. I mean, you finally get it and say, I'm going home to the house.
And he said when he took that job, he didn't plan on being there too long, but apparently he, fell in love with the community there in Tullahoma, and he stayed there. And I think about when these freshmen coming in with this Tullahoma team, they went 5-5, and the year before that, Tullahoma did not win a game. And the coach made a comment that he was grateful that they hung on to him, and let him continue to coach. And they had a few down years, and they had that winless team, and then that freshman group went 5-5. But he said he knew he had a really special group there. And the next 2 years, they went to the quarterfinals, and then this year they won the state championship. So I thought that was a great story.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Going up to 5A, the Powell Panthers brought a gold ball home to East Tennessee, 42-34 winners over Page.
Oh, that's a good win. Of course, Walter Nolan and all the Powell Panthers getting their 13th win against 2 losses, and great year for them all the way around. And I'll still say I hope there's some way we can get Mr. Nolan to go to UT.
Mm-hmm. And they said Walter Nolan had a really outstanding game. A lot of tackles, some sacks, and he even scored a touchdown out of the Wildcat.
I would have loved to see that.
Around the goal line, they had a Wildcat package, and I guess just snapped it to him and got a touchdown.
My goodness, what's he weighing at 310 or 20 or thereabouts?
I believe so. I'm not sure. But Jordan Potts, the quarterback, he got MVP. He was 24 for 30, 4 touchdown passes, and all of his touchdowns went to different receivers.
My goodness.
And they've got a pair of junior receivers, Redmond and Green, and they're juniors, and they'll be back next year for Powell. So Powell may be, I know the Potts kid, he's the quarterback, he's back too, so Powell may be going for a repeat.
They may be reloading and ready to go.
And Page, they defeated Page. That was Page's first trip to the state championship.
I don't know really much about Page.
Do you know where Page is located?
No.
It's in Franklin, Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, I did not know that till I read that, so yeah. And in 6A, Oakland, 43-26 over Summit, so back-to-back championships for Oakland as they end up 15-0.
Oakland, that's very stout in defeating Maryville the previous week and doing what needs to be done 2 times in a row. That's some good football.
Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty good game. I saw some of it. Summit was in the game there for a little bit. It was actually a pretty good ball game. Oakland pulled away to win by 17. So, but let's look at the state championship games last week. So football season is over. So that's sort of hard to believe, ain't it?
Very hard to believe. I'm, thinking that not too long ago it was extremely hot and we were worried about can we stand the heat, and then all of a sudden it's cold. So I mean,
that's the fastest 15 weeks of the year.
It certainly is. I love football, which I like basketball a whole lot, but football is extra in my blood. I love basketball big time too, but football is something special.
Well, speaking of basketball, we're going to come back and talk a little bit about the high school basketball in the area. And if you'd like to give us a call, please call in. We'll be right back. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
Mulch & More in Midtown is your landscaping headquarters. They offer mulch, topsoil, all types of gravel, sand, rock, crab orchard stone, riprap stone, and limestone gravel. Mulch & More does light excavation work. Do you need a driveway repaired? They can do it. Plus, Mulch & More can do your water and sewer lines, French drains, and more with Ditch Witch services. So whether you only need a half cubic yard up to 20 cubic yards, Mulch & More can help you. Give Gary a call today at 865-234-7060 at Mulch & More in Midtown.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
For 14 years, Subaru and our retailers have been sharing the love with those who need it most. Now Subaru is the largest automotive donor to Make-A-Wish and Meals on Wheels, and the largest corporate donor to the ASPCA and National Park Foundation. Get a new Subaru during the Share That Love event, and Subaru will donate $250 to charity.
Earl Duff Subaru in Kingston is proud to support both national and local charities during the Subaru Share the Love event.
At OEB Law, our home is your home. And your family is our family. And down here, family takes care of family. Giving back and helping out whenever needed. OEB Law is proud to be from East Tennessee. OEB Law feels like home.
Welcome back into the Locker Room Chat. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And Walter, I forgot to mention the game coming up Saturday night. The Rivalry Showcase will be played at Oak Ridge at Blankenship Field. It's a high school, basically an all-star type game. Mark Packer, brainchild of it, I believe, and hence the rivalry name. But the Rivalry Showcase played at Oak Ridge, and it will pit Knox County. There's 17 schools in Knox County, and they'll be going up against 39 other surrounding counties here in East Tennessee.
My goodness.
Stretching all the way from upper East Tennessee, maybe down towards Chattanooga. I'm not sure how far. 39 counties, that's quite a few counties, and I think there's 100 players. I think there's like 50 players for both sides.
Okay.
And Joe Gaddis will be coaching the East Tennessee team. Of course, Coach Gaddis retiring this year, and I thought that was a pretty good honor. I don't know if he was selected to coach that before he retired. I'm thinking he probably was, but he will be coaching that, and that's Saturday night. I'm not sure on the time, but it will probably be on TV, probably my VLT and Mark Packer and Austin Price. I'm sure probably having the action, and but there's a lot of players, a lot of band. I think there's going to be like an all-star band too. I was told like different band members from different schools got selected to participate, so it's pretty neat.
Well, do you have any idea if any of the ones in our area will be playing, or any particulars, or some of the more all-star players of Clinton, Oak Ridge, Anderson County,
Yeah,
Caulfield, Wartburg.
I have a list. I have a list of the players. But Clark Duncan, he will be coaching. He'll be coaching the Knoxville team.
Okay.
And there are 17 schools making up this Knoxville team, and that'll be an interesting game to watch. But locally in our Tri-County coverage area, 4 schools that I know of are represented: Anderson County, Clinton, Oak Ridge, and Caulfield.
Okay.
Now, there may be another. I checked with Kingston; they didn't have anybody, and I'm not sure about Midway and Harriman and all the other schools. But
Right.
But from Anderson County, Sully Sexton and Jacob Workman were selected. Also, Garrison Terry and Zach Shannon as well were selected. I know that Garrison Terry, he has a torn labrum. He's recovering from that, won't be able to play. And Zach Shannon, their outstanding linebacker, he elected not to play.
Okay.
So that's the players from Anderson County. From Clinton, you have Connor Moody, Rodavian Truss, Jeremiah Blavelt, and Devin Monroe were selected.
Well, I think that's good for them to get some extra time in football-wise, and that's a good honor and will help their confidence level too.
Yeah, it's quite the honor to be selected to play in this game, because there's a lot of good kids, good players out there that didn't get selected.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised that Kingston didn't, the season they had, and had some really good seniors, none selected from that. So I guess with 50 players and 39 counties, I guess it's sort of, tough to make. But
It's probably tough to pick with such a, some good ball players.
And from Oak Ridge High School, you had Jacob Burvin, Ethan Hewitt, and Kendall Jackson.
Okay. Well, Jackson, we've heard a lot of all year long.
Yeah, Burvin, he's an outstanding player, defensive player, linebacker. And the Hewitt also as well. I think he plays on the line.
All right.
And then Kendall Jackson, the running back, I haven't heard any more about where he might be attending college.
No, I haven't heard anything either.
Haven't heard anything on the Oak Ridge job either. Hiring is opening. So, but from Caulfield, Bryson Ridge was selected, big offensive and defensive lineman. We had him in studio.
Yeah, he's a big fella.
So, congratulations to those student athletes, and tune in Saturday night or go to the game. I think we got some rain coming in Saturday. Last I checked.
The last I heard, it was going to be in the upper 60s towards 70, and then have a cold front come in Saturday.
That won't be too bad then, will it? If it warms up a little bit.
Right.
Don't like no cold rain.
No, not at all.
But right now, let's talk a little high school basketball. And Chandler has put together some scores from Friday night and last night for girls and boys. And here are some games from Friday night. As you can see there on your screen, the girls, Clinton Lady Dragons over Anderson County, 54-47. I got to call that game. That was a very exciting game. Anderson County got out to an early lead. Clinton came back in the second quarter, took the lead at halftime, and pretty much led throughout the rest of the game. But it was a 3 to 5 point game there. Good, exciting high school basketball game. Big crowd there at Anderson County.
I bet it was. That's always a big rivalry between those two, and they usually give it their all, and a lot of excitement there.
Some other scores you see: Campbell County girls over Granger, 41-39. Campbell County must have a pretty good team, usually do, and Granger as well. They've been to the state, I think maybe last couple years. They've been an outstanding team, and go to Granger and win, that's a big feather in the cap for Campbell County.
And a thing about Granger, matter of fact, some years ago, before they were Granger and they were Rutledge High School, before they were consolidated, they were quite good back in the day. I actually covered them some when I was in Claiborne County when they went to the state championships as Rutledge back in the 90s.
Campbell County has a new coach this year. He come from Anderson County. Name escapes me right now, but Kingston there, you see that score, 58-56 over Harriman. Wow, I bet that was an exciting game. You got Sunbright over Midway. Sunbright girls, I believe they'll be in studio next week, and they're off to a 7-2 start. So looking forward to having Sunbright girls in. Wartburg over Oakdale. Scott over Halls in a district game. Cofield defeated Sale Creek at Sale Creek, and a lot of close games there. South Doyle over Carnes by 3. So that was your Tuesday night girls. This Friday games continued here. You see the games there.
Oh yeah.
And then last night, Clinton Lady Dragons traveled to Clay County and lost 66-46. And Walter, you have some notes on that game.
Right, in the girls' game, and actually through the whole area, a lot of big milestones. And big night Tuesday for Clinton senior Sarah Burton, as she scored 18 points to become the program's all-time leading scorer. And that's a big thing right there for her.
Right, certainly is. Congratulations to Sarah Burton, became the all-time leading scorer at Clinton High School, and she broke the record held by her head coach, Alicia Brown Phillips. So,
okay.
I wish she could have done it at home. That would have been more special, but congratulations to Sarah. And she also, last week against Carnes, scored 54 points to set the girls' single game scoring record.
My good, 54 points.
Right, yeah, 54 last week against Carnes. So Sarah Burton, an outstanding basketball player. She will be going on a basketball scholarship to University of Virginia at Wise.
Okay, that's
so,
great.
You know where that is.
Oh, yes.
Right up the road there in
Up
Southwest Virginia.
What, 58?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Southwest Virginia. That's my dad's stomping grounds up there. And last night, Anderson County girls over Gibbs, 55-41. Lady Mavericks now 4-2 on the season. Next game, Powell and Oak Ridge. That was a big district battle. Powell remains undefeated, defeating the Lady Wildcats 34-25, and heard the Wildcats had a poor shooting night.
They certainly did, and matter of fact, Reagan Truman Pace Powell was 17 points. Lady Panthers held Oak Ridge's star, what is her first name? S-E-M-A-J. Samaj Clark, to only 3 points in that game.
That's James spelled backwards.
I never even thought about that.
Her father played at Oak Ridge, and so they turned around and spelled it backwards.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty neat.
It certainly is.
Samaj.
Yeah, she only had
Samaj
3 points in that game.
Yeah, it was a low-scoring game. There were a lot of low-scoring games last night. A lot of talking about Tennessee basketball. They had a poor shooting night against Texas Tech.
They certainly did. I didn't get to watch it, but I heard that it was a very bad night.
Yeah, Texas Tech will play some defense now. They'll make it ugly. You know, I think it's 44-44 in regulation, and Texas Tech went on to win in overtime. But it was Tennessee's lowest scoring game since, I believe, it was 2005. I believe Bruce Pearl was the coach then, and they were in the 40s one night. if you can believe that.
That is very hard to believe.
So let's look at the boys. And we still got some girls here. Okay, this is girls. Campbell County over West, big.
57-12. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
My.
Coalfield got a big win over Lenore City. At Lenore City, that's 64-29. That's a good win for the Lady Yellow Jackets. Oneida over Oakdale. There's the Sunbright girls again, big over Monterey. Hardin Valley, 1 point over Halls. Midway by 1 over Wartburg. So a lot of close games. And Scott over South Doyle, 51-38.
So nail biters everywhere.
Here we got boys score from last Friday, and Clinton Dragons, they lost their opening game to McMinn County, and they've been rolling ever since. They jumped all over Anderson County. It was 23-3 after the first quarter, and ended up going up by 30 points there in the second quarter, and Anderson County just had trouble getting started, but Clinton now 6-1, won last night at Clay County. We'll see that score here in a little bit, but Dragons with an outstanding team.
Well, they've got 8 returning players and a lot of big men, and they've just got the depth to do what they need to do.
They will be at home. No, they'll be at Halls Friday in a district game. There's Granger over Campbell County. Kingston getting a win over Harriman. I'm not sure what's going on with Harriman. I saw their record were like 2-7. Not sure what's going on there. Sunbright boys over Midway. Wartburg over Oakdale. Halls over Scott, and that's a big win for the Halls Red Devils in the district. Scott with a good team. I believe that was their first loss of the season, Scott. And Sale Creek over Coach Brad Jones Yellow Jackets, 51-35.
Right.
I believe he was telling us about that game. No, that was another game he was talking about last week. They had a big lead and lost.
Right.
And South Doyle over Carnes. Some other Friday games. Carter over Gibbs. Union County over Knox Ambassadors. Rockwood over Lookout Valley. And Jellicoe over Unaka. And there you see from last night, the Dragons went to Clay County, defeated them. Clay County, a Class A power. I heard they had won 27 in a row coming into that game, and they have a Mr. Basketball winner from last year.
Well, they're always tough up in Kentucky. I mean, they breathe basketball 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So.
Well, I think it's near the Kentucky border, but it's a Tennessee school.
Oh, is it technically? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and Anderson County big over Gibbs, 89-54, and Walter, you got some notes on that game.
I certainly do. The senior forward Connor Martin had 40 points to set the program's single game scoring mark, and so he had 40 of their 89, so he got fairly close to 50% of their output for the night.
All right, Connor Martin, he's a 6'6" senior. He was signed scholarship to go to Trevica Nazarene. That's in Nashville. And Connor Martin, he broke the record held by Paul Wallace that played at Anderson County in the late 80s and maybe they're into the early 90s. Wallace had 39, but Martin with 40. He had 20 in the first quarter. He had 29 at halftime. So he got the 40-point mark there late in the third, and when he set the mark, Coach Wallace took him out of the game. Anderson County was well ahead, so I thought that was pretty class gesture there.
Oh, yeah.
Martin could have ended up with probably 60 if he'd left him in. Oak Ridge remains undefeated over Powell, 81-71. Wildcats now 4-0. on the year, and Coach Green was in here just moments ago. And who did you say they played? You remember?
You know, I don't remember that.
I think who they got Friday night, I can't remember. Oliver Springs over Harriman. Oliver Springs off to a good start this year. I believe they're 4-2, defeat Harriman 58-47. West 2-point winners over Campbell County. North City over Coach Brad Jones, Cofield Yellow Jackets, 71-57. Coach Jones, you think he likes me bringing his name up when they lose?
Probably not too much.
You'll have to win one, and we'll say his name, the winner. But yeah, right. I know they've won, but they've won some games. But they've had some close losses. Cofield boys, they had a couple games they should have won, according to Coach Jones.
Oh yeah.
Eagleton, that's middle school. Okay, Oneida over Oakdale, 72-50. Monterey over Sunbright. Midway over Woodbury. Look at that, 94-93.
Whoa.
Walter, and you got some stats on that.
Yes, if I can read my own writing on here. Yeah, Midway's junior Ethan Parks pumped in a school record 50 points in that win.
Wow, another school record set, huh?
Exactly.
Ethan Parks
That's correct.
from Midway. Wow, we'll have to get him in on the show.
Oh, yes.
So that's three local players that set school records. Sarah Burton, Connor Martin, and now Ethan Parks for Midway.
Okay, we may need to get all of them in here.
Uh-huh. That's pretty neat. And it was Scott. They got back on the winning track. Defeated South Doyle 78-75 in double overtime. And Anderson County will be traveling to Scott on Friday night in a district game. Got any other news and notes?
Right. William Blunt's McKenna Meyer scored the 1,000th point of her career in the first quarter against Greenback, and which we talked about earlier. Powell girls improved to 5-0 with a 34-25 win over Oak Ridge on Tuesday. Reagan Truman paced Powell with 17 points. Lady Panthers held Oak Ridge Star, as you Miss Clark, to 3 points. Simja or something like
Samaj.
that. Samaj, okay. And this earlier, Will Bivens and Gabriel Pastrana combined for 64 points and 11 rebounds in Knoxville West 79-77 win over Campbell County. That is a lot of points between two ball players.
I believe West is in that district now. They're in there with Campbell County and Oak Ridge and Carnes and Central. So,
Right.
So wow, that's and that Trum girl, Reagan Trum,
Yes.
for Powell, she's quite the player.
And Powell seems to bring out a lot of good players each year. They seem to have a great tradition.
Her sister, Bailey Trum, she set the state three-point scoring record for career a few years ago at Clinton, the most three-pointers in a career. So
My goodness.
I believe she's at, she went to Appalachian State originally. I think she's at LMU now. I'm not sure. And I think her sister, Reagan Trum, she's going to school too as well in North Carolina. I'm not sure which one that is. But we're going to go ahead and take another break, and we'll be right back. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
At OEB Law, our home is your home. And your family is our family. And down here, family takes care of family. Giving back and helping out whenever needed. OEB Law is proud to be from East Tennessee. OEB Law feels like home.
We treat you like family, and RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. Rome Metals Group, treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place and instead of what you came for, you found this? What would you do? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
For 14 years, Subaru and our retailers have been sharing the love with those who need it most. Now Subaru is the largest automotive donor to Make-A-Wish and Meals on Wheels, and the largest corporate donor to the ASPCA and National Park Foundation. Get a new Subaru during the Share the Love event, and Subaru will donate $250 to charity.
Earl Duff Subaru in Kingston is proud to support both national and local charities during the Subaru Share the Love event.
Mulch & More in Midtown is your landscaping headquarters. They offer mulch, topsoil, all types of gravel, sand, rock, crab orchard stone, riprap stone, and limestone gravel. Mulch & More does light excavation work. Do you need a driveway repaired? They can do it. Plus, Mulch & More can do your water and sewer lines, French drains, and more with Ditch Witch services. So whether you only need a half cubic yard up to 20 cubic yards, Mulch & More can help you. Give Gary a call today at 865-234-7060 at Mulch & More in Midtown.
All right, welcome back into the locker room chat, the last segment tonight. And Walter, I want to go over this, our pick 'em. We started the year picking, we wrote down our picks for who we thought would win. Got them wrote down here somewhere. I'll have to try to find them, but we picked the champions, remember?
Right.
I can't remember. I have to go back and look, but overall, ended up with 100 wins. I was 138.
Really?
And you were 92 and 46.
Goodness gracious.
That's not too shabby.
No, not too bad. Actually, I'm even more proud of you, but I'm proud of myself to be doing that good.
What's that winning percentage? 92 and 46. You know, you doubled it. I don't know what it would be, but
92 and 46. That would be a 2/3. So that's 66.7.
Wow. What's 138? You know.
138.
I'm not too good in. I had Miss Rosenbaum in math. I'm not too good on percentages.
50 over 60. Let's see. I'd have to figure that out, but right off.
You think?
I think you would be a little bit above 70%.
You think Tony Fannin could give us those percentages off his head?
Yeah, he's a pretty good statistician. Yeah, he's a sports fanatic just like you are. I'm pretty close, but not quite as.
We'll have to get Tony to call in.
We need to.
He's up there in Wisconsin. He's up there freezing right now, I bet.
Yeah, he certainly is. He talks about it can be. One time it was 50 below zero up there.
Wow.
And a couple of winters ago.
Yeah, I know it's usually snowing in October, so. Let's talk about the Big Orange. Tennessee's going to the Music City Bowl, play Purdue. What's your comments on that?
Well, I thought that might be a possibility, and I thought that would be a good one to go to, and a lot of folks would like to go to Nashville. I mean, I know you like to go to Florida and that sort of thing, but I think that'll help them keep the task at hand. And Purdue's got a couple of big wins over top teams this year. And they were a bit of a surprise, and I thought we were a very pleasant surprise Tennessee-wise. So, I mean, two teams that were a bit of surprises.
That should be a good matchup. Purdue beat Michigan State. I think they gave them their first loss.
Yeah.
And then they defeated Iowa as well. And they've got an outstanding receiver, David Bell. And they've got another player is really an outstanding player, a lineman, I believe, or defensive player. I'm hearing they may opt out as well. I'm not sure. I heard one of the Purdue commentators talking about that they may opt out. Of course, Alontae Taylor of Tennessee has opted out. And
Right.
You see a lot of players, not a lot, but you see a few from a lot of schools decide not to play.
I don't really understand that much, but I mean the amount of money that you may have in the future football-wise, some people are worried about being injured and what have you, but I don't know, back in the so-called olden days, you didn't see as much of that, but nowadays I guess there's even more money and in a certain sense more pressure on you and that sort of thing.
Did you know who the first player was who started this opting out? You remember? You know who it is?
I don't remember that.
The first player, Christian McCaffrey.
I remember that name.
At Stanford. He decided to opt out. That's the first player I can remember, a big name player that started that. Then after he did it, then you started to see a lot of other players deciding not to play. And I'm not a big fan of it either. But you can't really fault them, I guess. I don't know, but
I remember, I don't know what makes me bring this up. He didn't opt out, but he was a real good player back when Spurrier was at South Carolina, and he ended up blowing out his knee and did not get to play in the pros. And I just that was one that always stuck out, that I'm sorry that he did not make the pros. He was a pretty good class act under Spurrier.
Yeah, it was that big running back they had.
Yes.
I can't think of his name now. He ended up had another knee injury too.
Yes, he certainly did. Wasn't able to play in the pros at all.
So what do you think about the playoffs? You got the top 4 teams. You got Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati, and Georgia. No, it's Georgia, then Cincinnati. And I don't have no problem with those 4 teams. The order, maybe. What do you think about the order as far as Alabama? They beat Georgia, big win,
right.
17 points. They were they jumped over Michigan. Michigan was number 2. They blew out Iowa, coming off that big win over Ohio State. But they jumped Michigan. What's your thoughts on?
Well, I looked at it 2 different ways. I looked at the fact that Alabama has been good, but not as good as they had been. Georgia had been the team of the year this year, and I thought, well, Alabama beat them, so maybe they can hop over Michigan, but not necessarily, because Michigan had such a good win over Iowa. I was iffy on that.
Yeah, I can see both sides of that.
Yeah.
Certainly a big win by Alabama. Georgia's been steamrolling everybody, but Alabama came to play, didn't they?
They certainly did, and I look at Cincinnati, and I sort of look at this, and I think Alabama, Saban's been around the bend many times. He's going to have his team ready, but a team like that might be able to sneak up on an Alabama if you don't watch out, because it could be a real sleeper.
Yeah, I'm glad Cincinnati got in there. They're a non-power 5, but they're undefeated. They played Georgia a real good game last year in the Peach Bowl, and lost right there at the last. But I was glad to see Cincinnati. They're undefeated. They're only undefeated team in the college football, and they get a chance to play for. They're a little guy. If they don't get in this year, then what's the use? Those smaller schools. But I'll be glad when they expand it to 12 teams.
That would be very nice, or at least go to 8. I don't know how long it's going to be to get to 12, which I don't know, maybe they're in negotiation for that.
You're talking about you're going from 4 to 12.
Okay. And then looking at Cincinnati, they do have the good win over Notre Dame, and Notre Dame with only 1 loss. I mean, they didn't get to play in a playoff, but Notre Dame had a pretty good year themselves. So
Brian Kelly jumps ships and goes to LSU.
Oh, yeah, that... in one respect, and I didn't realize that the academic situation at Notre Dame, you've got to have a lot higher score, which Brad Jones pointed that out, than you do at LSU. And LSU's got such built-in great athletes right there that it would probably be an easier job for Kelly.
That's pretty shady by Kelly, I thought. I mean, Notre Dame still had a chance to get in the playoffs, and he just takes off. But
yeah,
apparently this new coach they hired, Freeman, a lot of players really love him, and that'd have been really neat if Notre Dame would have ended up in the playoffs, and the new coach takes over, and Kelly goes to LSU. But
well, that could be rather interesting if that were to have happened.
Chandler, do you have the wrestling pole back there? You have a wrestling pole? Anyway, Brad sent me an email. We got wrestling starting out right now, and we got the wrestling coaches poll. Here we got about a minute and a half in the show, and this is based on a dual meet strength. So in Class A in the state poll in wrestling, Greenville is number 1. The Green Devils. Pigeon Forge is 2. Signal Mountain 3. Fairview 4. Page 5. Knoxville Halls is 6. Tullahoma 7. Sycamore 8. Gibbs 9. And David Crockett's number 10 in the Class A wrestling. And this is the coaches poll, and it's like the 29th year.
That has to help Greenville football-wise to be that good in wrestling.
And then switching over to Class AA in Division II, they combine those, and you got Cleveland, number 1, Baylor 2, Wilson Central 3, Christian Brothers 4, Bradley Central 5, Father Ryan 6, Summit 7, Blackman 8, Brentwood 9, Lakeway Christian 10, Oakland 11, and McCauley 12. So you got a mixture there of public and private schools. You got 5 private schools mixed in there. So you got Greenville 1 in Class A, and Cleveland 1 in Class AA. So appreciate everyone tuning in tonight, and my name is John Williams for Walter Stair. We'll be back next week. Tune in. I believe we'll have the Sunbright basketball girls in, so appreciate you watching. We'll see you next week on the Locker Room Chat.